Ever feel like commercial real estate, it's like they're speaking another language sometimes.
Right. Yeah.
Like, what are they even saying?
Yeah.
Well, today we are tackling one of those terms you probably heard. Might have even made you kind of nervous. We're talking letters of credit.
Ooh.
Because picture this, you're ready to sign for that perfect office, storefront, whatever, and bam, they hit you with, we need a letter of credit.
Okay.
I don't know about you, but my first thought wouldn't be finances. It'd be like, oh, someone's sending me a thank you.
Right, exactly.
Little do they know. But luckily, we've got expert speaker here who actually speaks fluent real estate. They're going to break down these LOCs for us, whether we're seasoned pros or just dipping our toes in the business world.
Absolutely happy to be here. And letters of credit, definitely one of those things that can sound way more intimidating than they need to be.
So no more mystery. In plain English, when it comes to a lease, what are we even talking about?
So at its core, a letter of credit in a lease, it's basically like a safety net for the landlord. Instead of you handing over a huge chunk of cash up front as a security deposit, it's your bank saying, hey, we've got your back.
Okay.
They're promising that if you, as the tenant, if you don't hold up your end of the financial bargain,
right,
the bank, they're going to step in and cover the cost up to a certain amount. Think of it like, all those financial promises you make in a lease, the rent, any extra fees, all that fun stuff. The LOC is there just in case things go sideways.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get it, but why should I, the listener, care? If a tenant doesn't pay, seems like that's the landlord's problem, not mine.
That's a common misconception.
Yeah.
It really is more interesting and more beneficial for the tenant than a lot of people realize. Remember that article you sent over from Allies Commercial Realty?
Oh, yeah. Great source.
They were spot on when they were talking about how letters of credit can actually be a really smart move for the tenant side, too. Yeah. Think about it. You need that cash to grow your business, not just sitting there as a security deposit, right?
Yeah.
An LOC. It could free up those funds and let you put them to work.
So instead of my money just kind of hanging out, keeping the landlord company, it's out there making me money.
Exactly. It's like putting your money to work instead of letting it collect dust.
Okay. Interesting twist.
And here's another bonus. Having an LOC on the table can actually give you a little bit of leverage when you're negotiating the terms of your lease.
Cool.
Yeah. Landlords, they see that LOC. It shows them you're serious, you're financially responsible, you've got backing, and they're often more willing to be a little flexible, maybe on the rent, maybe on some of those lease terms, because they've got that extra peace of mind.
It's like saying, hey, we're good for it. We got our stuff together.
Exactly. It's a signal.
Smart. But I'm guessing like anything else in the world of finance, there's not just one type of letter of credit. There's got to be options, right?
You are absolutely right. And that is where it can get a little bit tricky because there are a few different types. The one that you'll see most often with leases, though, and Allies really kind of dug into this one, it's called a standby letter of credit. Sometimes you'll see it as SBLC for short.
Okay.
And a standby letter of credit, it's kind of, if you think of it like insurance, that's a good way to wrap your head around it. It's only there, it only kicks in if the tenant defaults on the lease. So it's just sitting there, kind of off to the side. But it's that guarantee that gives the landlord some peace of mind.
Got it. So standby is the most common, but let's say worst case scenario, my business takes a hit, I miss some rent payments. How does that standby LOC actually play out? What happens?
So you found that perfect spot. Negotiations are going well, and then comes that LOC request. First things first, you're going to go to your bank or, some kind of financial institution that handles these things, and you're going to formally ask for that LOC.
And I'm guessing they don't just hand them out like candy.
Not quite. They're going to put your business finances through the ringer. They'll look at your credit history. They'll look at your financial stability, the whole 9 yards. Think of it like applying for a loan, just with a few extra forms and a little more scrutiny.
Okay.
But if everything checks out and they give you the thumbs up, the bank's going to issue that standby letter of credit directly to your landlord.
So I don't get to sneak off with it and use it as a giant credit card or anything?
Yeah, definitely not. This is a very specific document.
Yep.
It very clearly lays out exactly what it covers, the amount, what would trigger the landlord to actually tap into it when it expires.
Mm-hmm.
Transparency is key here. And both sides really need to be on the same page about what happens if that LOC needs to be called upon.
Okay, no room for oh, I thought it meant this later on down the line.
Exactly.
Now, Allies mentioned a couple of other types of LOCs. I think they mentioned commercial LOCs, but it sounded like those are less common in the leasing world.
Yeah, commercial letters of credit, they're more common in international trade.
Okay.
So, if you're importing or exporting goods, you need to guarantee that those payments are going to be made.
Right.
It's a way to make sure that the deal goes through smoothly. They work a little differently than the standby LOC, but it just kind of highlights how versatile these tools can be.
It's like finding out there's this whole secret menu at your favorite restaurant.
Exactly.
But for most of us, just, trying to open up shop or rent an office, that standby LOC is going to be our main course.
Okay, so let's talk cost, because I have a feeling these don't come cheap.
Yeah, you're right. Getting yourself set up with an LOC for a lease, it's not free. There are costs involved. You're going to be paying the bank or whoever's issuing that LOC, usually a fee, and it's often calculated as a percentage of the total amount that they're guaranteeing.
Okay.
Think of it kind of like an insurance premium you're paying for that security and that peace of mind.
Okay, makes sense. So what dictates that price tag? Like, what are some of the factors that our listeners should be aware of?
One of the biggest things is going to be your credit worthiness as a business.
Yeah. The stronger your credit history and the better your financial track record, the lower your fees are probably going to be.
So, just like in my personal life, got to keep that business credit score nice and shiny.
Absolutely.
Makes sense. Anything else that plays into those costs?
Yeah, the amount of the LOC itself, that's going to be a big factor.
Okay.
Higher the guarantee, higher the fee, makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. It's all about how much risk they think they're taking on.
Bigger the safety net, bigger the price tag.
Exactly.
Now, our source from Allies, they mentioned this whole thing about collateral. What does that even mean in the LOC world?
So sometimes the bank, they might ask for some collateral to back up that LOC.
Okay.
Doesn't always happen, but it's a possibility. Depends on the situation, the bank, their policies, all that. Think of it like, when you go to rent a car and they put a hold on your card, that's security deposit.
Right.
Kind of like that.
Okay, so it's like a backup for the backup.
Exactly, just in case.
Got it. Safety net all around. But with all these costs, there's got to be some serious benefits to justify it all, right?
Oh, absolutely. And this is where it gets interesting, because we really have to look at it from both sides.
Okay.
The advantages for the landlord, but also what's in it for the tenant.
All right, so two sides to every coin. Let's start with the landlord. Why are they so gung-ho about these LOCs? What's their big win?
So for the landlord, it really boils down to that peace of mind.
Okay.
That LOC, it's a strong financial safety net.
Right.
It assures them they're not going to be left holding the bag if the tenant can't pay.
Yeah, it's like that extra layer of protection, knowing someone's got your back.
Exactly.
But it's not just about the rent.
Right. It can cover other potential costs related to the lease, too.
Okay.
Like if there's damage beyond just normal wear and tear.
Right.
Sometimes even unpaid utility bills, depending on how the lease is worded.
Okay.
So that LOC, it can act as a buffer for a lot of different things.
Fewer landlord headaches. I like it.
Exactly.
But let's flip the script. What about us, the tenants? What's in it for us besides, obviously, not having to hand over a giant pile of cash right away?
Right. And we talked about preserving capital. That's huge. But another big one, especially for new businesses,
Okay.
LOCs can really help build your credibility.
Hold on. So it's not just about proving I can pay the rent. It's about my business's reputation, too.
Exactly.
Oh.
That willingness to secure your lease with an LOC, it sends a strong message to landlords.
Interesting.
You're serious, you're financially responsible, you've got backing.
It's like saying, we're the real deal, even if we're the new kids on the block.
Exactly. It shows you're here to play by the rules.
I like it. Anything else on that tenant perk list?
Oh yeah, that flexibility an LOC gives you, that's a major advantage.
Okay.
Not only are you keeping more of your own money liquid, but it gives you some breathing room if something unexpected happens.
Right. Like every business has those ups and downs. It's good to have a little cushion.
Exactly.
So it sounds like when you break it all down, LOCs, they really can be a win-win.
They can. Absolutely.
Right.
When both sides understand the terms and they use it strategically,
right,
it's a valuable tool. But, and this is important, that understanding, that's key.
Right. That's like we always say, knowledge is power. And speaking of knowledge, our friends over at Allies, they really stress the importance of getting expert advice when it comes to these LOCs, these lease agreements. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I couldn't agree more. This is not a DIY situation.
Right.
Getting the right guidance can make or break the deal.
It's like that old saying, measure twice, cut once. But in this case, it's consult twice, sign once.
Exactly. I mean, having a qualified real estate attorney.
Right.
Or even a financial advisor in your corner.
Yeah.
They can be invaluable. I mean, they can help you dissect all that fine print, maybe negotiate some better terms for you. Just make sure that everything, it aligns with your specific business, your needs, how much risk you're comfortable with.
So it's not just about understanding what an LOC is, it's about how it fits into your bigger picture.
Exactly. Because these agreements, I mean, they have real-world consequences for your business, your financial health, your stability.
Absolutely, yeah. It sounds like we've covered a lot of ground today. Hopefully for those who may be tuned in feeling like, commercial real estate, what is this? Hopefully letters of credit a little less intimidating now.
Definitely, I think so. Like we said, knowledge is power.
Yeah.
And just that little bit of digging beneath the surface, it makes these concepts so much clearer.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So we explored what LOCs are, why they matter, and not just for the landlord, for the tenant, too.
Right, for everybody.
And even how they can be a tool to help your business grow.
Absolutely. And maybe even more importantly, we really highlighted the importance of being informed.
Yes.
Understanding all those terms and not being afraid to reach out. Get some expert advice if you need it.
Couldn't agree more. Knowledge is power, my friends. And in the world of commercial real estate, that power, that translates to smart decisions.
Absolutely.
Decisions that can help your business thrive.
Well said.
So, from both of us here at The Deep Dive, thank you for joining us on this journey into the world of letters of credit. And until next time, keep those brains engaged, keep those questions coming. Get in touch with Allies Commercial Realty at info@alliescommercialrealty.com to find your ally in commercial real estate.